Howdy ESSM 406. In this lecture I want to discuss with you a little bit about collaboration. So I titled this unit Communities and Collaboration, and those are two related concepts, but they're not really the same. So I want to clarify what I mean by them and how they're different. When we talk about community-based management, we're usually talking about relatively small local groups of people working together to manage their natural resources or to solve their environmental problems. When we talk about collaboration, we're usually talking about people working together, but they're not necessarily a community. They're not necessarily a small group of people. They're not necessarily in the same place. So, a classic example of collaboration might be the management of a large natural resource. So, say the Chesapeake Bay or the San Francisco Bay, very large region, big metropolitan cities are on it. There may be endangered species affected. In fact, in both of those bays, you have endangered species. You might have a similar situation in Galveston Bay. I'm not actually sure if there's endangered species in Galveston Bay, but say there's big cities, different interests, shipping, fishing, oil, pollution. All these things are being managed, and all these people might come into conflict with each other. And collaboration means people working together. So sometimes collaboration starts when people are in conflict and they decide that this conflict is not productive for meeting their needs, or when a third party comes in and tries to get them to work together to reach a mutually agreeable solution. There's various techniques for engaging in collaboration, and I'm giving you introductions to two of them. One's called structured decision making, and the other one they just call it collaboration, but it's the work by Inez and Boer, and they have a whole book and a whole philosophy of what it means to be collaboration. Collaboration in natural resource management means a few different things. One of the things it means is people working together. Another thing it means is a decision-making process. So some collaborative processes are based on consensus. So everyone has to agree about every stage. But not all collaborative processes are about consensus. And some people think of collaboration as the opposite of conflict, but it's not necessarily. Sometimes a few people may be collaborating to be in conflict with another person. But another really important aspect of collaboration, which is really emphasized in both of these readings, is shared understanding of the problem. One of the things we find in natural resource management is oftentimes different groups who are in conflict with each other think that they are addressing a different problem. So, for example, one person might say, well, we have a water shortage. Another person might say, well, this endangered species is declining. Another person might say, water's too expensive. Well, they might all be dealing with the same natural resource, but they have very different ideas, and they may disagree. Oftentimes, these groups may have scientific experts who they've found. So, the people who are concerned about the endangered species may have a wildlife biologist, and the people who are concerned about water might have a hydrologist, and the people who are concerned about prices might have an economist working for them. And they all say, well, I have science on my side. Science shows this. But the science they may not agree on what the science is, or they may be using different science to reach. So one of the important things that these readings emphasize is how do you reach agreement about what the science actually is? And in particular, the structured decision-making process is really focused on coming to agreement about what the science is. A second problem is people may have different values. What I mean by values, they're core beliefs about what they think is important. So maybe the people who care about the endangered species, they may believe that endangered species have a right to exist above and beyond their use for humans. But the people who are concerned about prices might have a belief that prices are the way that we express value in our society. So endangered species aren't worth anything. No one's paying for these endangered species. But people are going to pay for the food I'm going to grow with this water. So that's more valuable. Those are different kinds of values. And they may be incommensurate. They may agree about what the science is. People who care about prices might say, yeah, we understand that if we do this, this endangered species will be threatened. Well, we don't care. We don't think endangered species are important. People who care about the endangered species say, well, if we do this, farmers may get driven out of business. Well, we don't care about the business of the farmers. That's their problem. Our problem is to protect the endangered species. So you may have incommensurate values, you may have incommensurate science. What all these processes are trying to do is uncover what are the differences in values, what are the differences in science, and what are our real interests? What do we really care about? Oftentimes, people care about symbolic things that have meaning because they're implications for a deeper cause. If you can uncover, well, the reason I don't want to give in on this issue is because this is a symbol of a larger issue. Well, maybe actually, if we resolve the larger issue, I can get over my opposition to this smaller issue. So all these collaborative processes are trying to uncover these differences and find ways that people can come to agreement when they don't already come to agreement. That's what's really important. When people can come together and make agreements, can often be a very powerful way to resolve conflict, to have better management of resources.